Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here, so it's time for another movie review today, and this time, guys, I'm going to be reviewing another movie in the ROBOCOP franchise, and this movie, guys, is going to be the first of the sequels to the first movie from 1987, which is 1990's ROBOCOP 2, directed by Irving Kershner. And this was, unfortunately, his final movie before he died, so rest in peace, Irving Kershner. And yeah, so this movie, in my opinion, guys, it can be an unnecessary sequel, absolutely, because I think no movie, has ever been as good as the first movie, and in my opinion, they've undid the perfect ending of the first movie, and this one certainly does. But, guys, in my opinion, I think it can actually be considered to be an underrated action movie, so yeah, not as bad as what people would really think, maybe, in my opinion, but yeah. However, there is several issues which makes me strongly prefer the first movie, so yeah. So, what's this movie about? So, set in a dystopian Detroit, the plot follows RoboCop with Peter Weller reprising his role as RoboCop as he becomes embroiled in a scheme made by Omni Consumer Products to bankrupt and take over the city while also fighting the spread of a street drug and its gang of dealers led by Kane, played by Tom Noonan. So, yeah, now, when it was released, it received mixed reviews at first, and yeah, but eventually it received attention in 2013 because its plot predicted Detroit filing for bankruptcy in the future. So yeah, which is a very interesting prediction. Yeah, pretty shocking, and yeah. So what I think of the movie. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the movie first, guys. So my pros of the movie is that Peter Weller once again does a phenomenal job playing RoboCop in this movie. Because like I said in my review for the first movie, I don't imagine any actor ever playing the role better than Peter Weller. In my opinion, he will always be RoboCop, and no other actor can ever play the role better than him. And yeah, and although in my opinion, some really bad things happen to RoboCop, which mistreats him in a way this movie, and yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about a character I don't like in the bad qualities of the movie for me. Nancy Allen is still great as Anne Lewis. Once again, she does a really amazing job playing the role as the amazing sidekick to RoboCop. She's so great in the role, and yeah, does a great job. And also returning as well is Dan O'Hurley as the old man. Now, unfortunately, the old man, in my opinion, I did not like him in this movie. We'll get to the bad qualities, but Dan O'Hurley did a very good job playing him. May he rest in peace. And also returning was Felton Perry as Donald Johnson, who is, in my opinion, an underrated character in the franchise, and yeah, and Felton does a very good job playing him, and yeah, and plus, we also got Robert Duke reprising his role as Sergeant Reed, may rest in peace, and yeah, still a very good supporting character in my opinion, and yeah, I did definitely like Sergeant Reed. And also returning as well is, the news anchors like Maria Mercado as Casey Wong, the news anchor. And we also got Murphy's wife Ellen returning, this time not in flashback, but actually in the present day, with Angie Boland reprising her role. And yeah. However, something really bad happened involving Murphy's wife, which we'll get to in the bad qualities, but yeah. When it comes to new cast, we of course get introduced to a villain, which is Kane, played by Tom Noonan. And I will say that while Kane was a pretty great villain in my opinion, guys, pretty creepy and disturbing as well in my opinion, with many disturbing moments, like for example, what he does to people who fail him, and we're talking about Duffy, But I will say though, guys, even though he was great, in my opinion, no villain will ever be able to top Clarence Boddicker, because in my opinion, Boddicker is the best RoboCop villain ever, because he's such a great villain, and no one can ever top him in my opinion. But Kane was still a very great villain, and Tom Noonan did a great job playing him, and yeah. And when it comes to the supporting villains, I like the addition of Gabriel Damon as Hob, who is a kid who is actually affiliated with Kane, and yeah. And he was actually a pretty cool character, guys, in my opinion. And yeah, played really well by Gabriel. And yeah, and also pretty creepy as well, especially because in the arcade fight scene, he attempts to choke Lewis. And like, wow, he showed no mercy, is he? Wow, goodness me. And yeah, and he also takes advantage of his age when defending himself against RoboCop, because RoboCop, of course, cannot shoot a child. And yeah, and then this allows Hob to shoot him, and then Hob escapes, and yeah. And I also love the addition of of Galen Gorg as Angie, who is the girlfriend of Kane. Also a very good supporting antagonist as well, in my opinion. And I also thought it was really cool how he had a corrupt cop working for him, which was Officer Duffy, played by Stephen Lee. And yeah, and Duffy was a pretty cool concept of how you have a cop who is secretly affiliated with Kane, and yeah, and of course, who is addicted to the drug Kane is producing called Nuke, because Nuke is a big part of the movie, guys, which is a drug, and yeah, which ROBOCOP is investigating, and yeah. And when it comes to Duffy, I will say that an example of why I think Kane is a disturbing villain is probably the way he deals with Duffy for revealing the location of the plant where Kane is hiding to ROBOCOP. And yeah, like, goodness me, that scene was just so disturbing, the way he tortured Duffy like that and killed him. Oh my goodness, it was just so brutal. Oh wow. And so, now, other good qualities I will say besides the cast, guys, is I also, as well, definitely really enjoyed the action. I think the action is, once again, really good in the movie, guys, and yeah, definitely another good highlight. And I like how the movie, like the first movie, does retain the same amounts of blood and gore, which in the first movie is so memorable, and yeah, because thankfully, unlike, you know, the dreadful sequel we do not name, or the reboot, this movie was still rated 18 in my country, guys, compared to us, which are rated, I think, you know, PG or 12 or whatever, so yeah. So just out of first movie, this movie retained its 18 rating, which I'm very happy about. And yeah, and so yeah, the blood and gore was definitely there as well, and I like it also preserve the same amount of humour as the first movie in terms of, you know, like for example, the adverts as well, they can be entertaining to watch, and yeah. However, though, unfortunately, a bad quality we'll get to, you know, is that, in my opinion, sometimes it gets way too funny unintentionally, and we'll get to why, but yeah. And so, but nonetheless, well, the action is still really fun to watch. Like, honourable mention, I could say, is probably the opening gun robbery scene where ROBOCOP stops a robbery. That was a really cool scene. And also the fight scene at the nuke building which ROBOCOP raids, and yeah, and then also the arcade scene. The arcade scene was pretty cool in my opinion, guys, and yeah, and it was really fun to watch, and especially, you know, seeing ROBOCOP interrogating Duffy, and yeah, asking where Kane is, and yeah, and yeah, plus as well, other good fight scenes. I also as well like the scene taking place at the plant where ROBOCOP and the police force, you know, they assault the plants, and yeah. And the final fight scene in the movie is also really good, guys. And also, another good quality we'll say, guys, is I did also as well like how the villain of the movie is not like, you know, just a normal human gangster like Bodica or a businessman like Dick Jones. I like how the villain is this time another ROBOCOP. I thought that was a very cool concept, how they turned a gangster into a ROBOCOP and became a villain. But yeah. However, though, in my opinion, the idea of a gangster being made into a policeman and as like a cyborg policeman is a very questionable thing, which we'll get to in the bad quality with regards to a character that I do hate, and yeah. And yeah, for what it's worth, guys, it's still a very underrated movie, in my opinion. It has very good action and, you know, really good performances, especially from Peter Weller as ROBOCOP, and yeah. And, however, guys, on to bad quality, so my biggest bad quality with the movie, guys, is probably that the movie does, unfortunately, ruin the ending of the first movie in the opening, because there's a scene that happens after the nuke plant raid scene, which nearly does kill the movie for me, and we'll get to, which is the scene where ROBOCOP is being interviewed, where he tells the interviewers that he's just a machine and that Alex Murphy is dead. So yeah, he says he's not human and that Alex Murphy died. And yeah. And that really annoyed me, guys. And I especially hated how he then told Ellen Murphy that Alex Murphy is dead. And yeah, I did not like that. Oh, wow. That was very devastating in my opinion, guys. And it nearly killed the movie for me. But thankfully, you know, things like the action and also... And you know, other good things as well that I just mentioned, the good qualities. Thankfully, they save the movie, in my opinion, but yeah. However, though, yeah, this scene was disappointing, and it's one of the reasons why I like to pretend that ROBOCOP is only the first movie and didn't have any sequels, but yeah. And also as well, other qualities I will say, guys, is a character that I really hate is a new character introduced, which is Dr. Juliet Fax. Oh god, I really hated Fax, guys. Now, while Belinda Boyd did a great job playing her, I really hated the character, guys. She really annoyed me. And yeah, and I think it's a very questionable and stupid idea for her to want to add, the brain of a criminal instead of a policeman into the new RoboCop. Like, is she really that stupid? Like, is it any wonder RoboCop 2 went horribly wrong? Yeah, exactly. Goodness me. And especially because she murdered Kane and got away with it as well. Like, because she rang the doctors to say that Kane died, even though he was still alive when she made the call, and then she just shut his life support off, and then he died, and yeah. So she got away with murder, guys. And, yeah, because honestly, she's so utterly annoying, guys. I don't like her at all. And yeah. And especially as well, because after Kane and his gang do end up disassembling RoboCop by ambushing him at the plant, which he finds Kane at, thanks to Duffy, after RoboCop has been stripped apart and being repaired, however, she then gives him, like, a list of, like, ridiculous directives, and it completely messes up RoboCop, and yeah. And it made him into a complete jerk. But thankfully, however, he does erase the directives by electrocuting himself with a transformer, so that was, good, I guess, that he got his, his control back in freedom. And yeah. But I just, really hated how she did that to RoboCop by giving him all these new and softer directives like that. Oh my god, it was just ridiculous. And yeah. Like, she's such an unlikable character, facts, guys. I can't stand her. And yeah. And she's one of the reasons why I don't like the movie as much as the first movie, because she's such an unlikable character. And speaking of unlikable characters, guys, as well, I hated how they made the old man into, like, a villain type of character in this movie compared to the great character he was in the first movie. Like, I did not like the old man in this movie, guys. Like, I just thought, he was, so different compared to how he was in the first movie. Like, wow. I don't know what happened to him in this movie. And then at the end of the movie, he got away with, what happened, and yeah. Like, avoiding accountability, and yeah. Did not like that at all. See, they really changed the old man in this movie, guys, and I didn't like it. And also, because he doesn't return in the third movie, he got away with what he did, so yeah. So that really sucked. And yeah. And also, when it how I said that, some scenes tend to be, more laughable than the first movie, his humour. Well, the thing is, guys, in my opinion, I think the script can be laughably bad at times, and yeah, and that kind of, annoyed me a little bit. I'm not really one who didn't like the script, because Peter Weller didn't like the script. He said it lacked the spine and, the soul of the first movie, and I'd probably agree with him there, because I think the script is much weaker, and in some cases, laughably bad, so yeah. Like, for example, the scene where RoboCop saves a baby from one of Kane's gangsters who is, threatening to, shoot a baby. I think the lines in that scene could have been way better written, in my opinion. And also, as well, when it comes as well to the final fight between RoboCop and Kane, or RoboCop 2, whatever we want to call him, the old man's line where he says, behave, oh god, that was just a very cringy addition to the scene, and it took away entertainment, in my opinion, because I didn't find it funny, and yeah, in like a humorous way. I thought it was, laughable bad, like I'm thinking, really? You really gonna say that? That kind of thing, and yeah. And yeah. And plus, as well, when it comes to, there's like a bit of an error with regards to, Kane's brain, guys, because apparently, guys, it takes them 5 minutes, the surgeons to get his brain out of his skull, and yeah. And in real life, it would have taken him much longer, because getting the brain alongside the spinal cord out would actually take a lot longer than 5 minutes to do, and it'll be a lot more harder to do as well, so yeah. So realistically, guys, that operation would have probably failed miserably, so yeah. Considering he only had 5 minutes before my brain would die, so yeah. And and that scene probably was a bit disturbing and pretty creepy, seeing my brain there, and yeah. But nonetheless, when it comes to the good humour, at least, some scenes are very enjoyable, and they can be funny because of, for the right reasons, and yeah. And like, but But, like, for example, one scene that I think is quite stupid is probably the scene where RoboCop is, like, trying to arrest, you know, a criminal who's already been shot dead. Like, really? Yeah, that was pretty stupid, and yeah. And when he's trying to give, like, you know, a big speech to those kids who are robbing a store with the guy who just got shot in the head, and yeah. And apparently, as well, they cut out the scene where the store owner's yelling at RoboCop, complaining to him, and yeah. You know, in, like, the physical release, because you can see the lead scene of the store owner yelling at RoboCop, and yeah. And, like, I just think, you know, the humour, you know, was unintentionally, you know, laughably bad in the movie, in my opinion, guys, compared to the first movie, which, in my opinion, had perfect humour. And, yeah. And, however, when it comes to adverts, I like how they include lots of adverts for these, you know, fictional, futuristic things. And, yeah, like, I like how the movie opened with an advert for Magnavolt, which is that, you know, electrical or charge thing in cars. And, yeah. And what's cool, guys, is the advert guy who appears wearing a nice red suit is played by John Glover, which is pretty cool. So he appeared in the advert, and yeah, which is really awesome. And another quality which I don't think I can say it's, you know, like good or bad, but probably like in the middle is probably the music, guys, because Basil Poledouris did not return to compose the music for this. The music was instead composed by Leonard Rosenman. Now, I will say, guys, that while I think the music is neat and pretty good, in my opinion, very well composed, in my opinion, it is not as memorable as the first movie's music. Yeah, I think the first movie's music is way better and way more memorable, in my opinion. And the main theme is also decent to listen to, I guess, but yeah, one thing that I think is quite weird about the main theme is how it includes a choir singing ROBOCOP. You know, the choir singing RoboCop, and yeah, that is pretty weird and feels out of place for a RoboCop movie, but yeah. And, so yeah, I do play Basil's music, but Leonard's music was still really good, in my opinion, guys, and yeah. But I think Basil's music is way more superior. And, also as well, another good quality I will say, guys, is, there is a scene that I do get a good laugh at, which is probably, as well, the scene where it shows the RoboCop 2 prototype failures, where the old man sees a video of them, and they're going horribly wrong, and yeah, like, but one I get the most laugh out is one that takes off a helmet and then screams before falling. Like, I always laugh my head off at that scene. That's just so funny to see, especially seeing him doing a face palm at it. Yeah, it's really funny. Oh, when it comes to the first prototype, what I think is quite questionable, guys, is why did they give the prototype live ammunition in a test? Yeah, that's really confusing because, you know, it shot several people which were there, and yeah, goodness me. So, yeah. So, overall, guys, while I do think, you know, the movie is, you know, an underrated action movie, I still think it's an unnecessary sequel, and it does have many questionable aspects about it, you know, because I, of course, don't like how it undoes RoboCop saying that he's Alex Murphy at the end of the first movie, and also, Fax is a very unlikable character. And yeah, and I think the humour can sometimes be laughably bad, you know, due to a script, and yeah. And I definitely would agree with what Peter Weller said about our scripts, and yeah. But yeah, but I still think it's an underrated action movie, guys, and yeah. And plus, when it comes to the final fight between RoboCop and Robo-Kane, while it was definitely really fun to watch, and we did a very good job with stop motion for Robo-Kane in that scene, you know, it can definitely, you know, age quite well, in my opinion, guys, and hold up. Although some shots, in my opinion, you can easily tell is, you know, stop motion. But it's definitely, you know, really good to watch, and yeah, I'm pretty satisfying seeing RoboCop tear out a brain and then smash it on the floor, and yeah. Although what is quite questionable about that scene is when he takes the brain out of the Robo-Kane armor, why didn't the system shut off without a brain being there? And also, as well, why did the brain appear to be much smaller than the brain which we saw in the tank, which had been taken out of Kane's body, you know? So, yeah, that's quite confusing, especially because it didn't have as much of a spinal cord as a brain seen in the brain removal scene, so, yeah. And I will admit, the brain in removal scene is definitely very, very disturbing, in my opinion, yeah. Pretty creepy. And, you know, but still, I think the idea of a criminal being chosen as the next RoboCop is a very questionable and very dumb idea. And yeah, like, I don't care if Fax believes she could control Kane via his addiction to nuke, because it just didn't work. because he went on a rampage, and yeah, it went horribly wrong. So yeah, but nonetheless, for guys, like I said, but I think this is underrated action movie that deserves a bit more love, because I don't think it's as bad as the next movie I'm going to do a trash talk of. Oh God, I am not looking forward to that. But yeah, so how do I rank this movie out of 10, guys? Well, compared to the first movie, which I give 10 out of 10 because in my opinion it's a masterpiece and can never be topped, I give this movie an 8 out of 10 because I think it's a very fun, guilty pleasure to watch. You know, I don't mind it, and yeah. And for me, guys, it's by the same director who made The Empire Strikes Back, so yeah, that's definitely, you know, a bonus right there for a good quality about it, and yeah. And may even Kirshner rest in peace, and others who died in the movie, yeah, maybe all rest in peace. So yeah, so that's me reviewing RoboCop 2, guys, so yeah. Again, a really good movie, not as good as the first movie, and yeah. And it could have probably had some more iconic quotes, like, because, for example, it doesn't feature the iconic line, which is, you know, dead or alive, you're coming with me, sadly. Only has a paraphrase where RoboCop says to Kane, dead or alive, when he's, you know, saying, you know, he wants him dead or alive, yeah, when he confronts him, but yeah. But still, it's a good movie, guys, and yeah. So I give it 8 out of 10, very underrated movie. So, you know, drill, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to in the comments what you guys think of RoboCop 2, you've seen what your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for more videos coming in the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can press join using the peace out or click the description, and I'll see you all later.